left wing, top of the circle, and slows up, holds, back edge.
Yes! Okay. That's one.
Hockey skill right there.
Wow. Got him. One time.
Takes it down the right wing, now top of the circles, looking in.
Yes! Okay. Well, they made that as hard as possible. Avs win over the Arizona Coyotes 3-2 in the shootout.
Oh! And Como has a breakaway.
Outside of one 10-minute stretch in the second period, this really was not a good game for the Avs. But I've been saying all year that playoff teams find ways to win, and you had to find a way to win this one if you wanted to be a playoff team, really. And finally, the Avs did. It took a while to get there, though. The first period was a total slog. The Coyotes totally set the pace of play, and the Avs just kind of floundered for most of the period, including taking 3 penalties. Luckily, Grubauer's hot streak is still riding high for the Avs. Between that and a little bit of help from one post, the Avs managed to escape the first, tied 0-0. It was definitely not a great period for the Avs, but they had their secret weapon back in the locker room, and that's Captain Gabe Landeskog. Coming back as fast as he did, I seriously doubt that he is 100%, but he still played over 22 minutes in this game, second most of all Avs forwards. And even if he's not 100%, he still helps the Avs top 6 more than most do. So with the captain back at the helm, the Avs come out for the second period, and they look better ish. It was still a very slow period paced by the Coyotes, but the Avs have cleaned up a lot of the sloppiness they had earlier. It really was a low intensity period. You actually didn't hate it as the Avs because the Coyotes weren't really getting very many opportunities, but the Avs came few and far between as well, at least until we get past the halfway mark and the Coyotes get dinged for a penalty. And in the clutch, the Avs power play actually works, which is maybe the strangest possible timeline I can imagine, but hey, I'll take it. Not an insignificant point here. This entire play gets created from below the circles. Look at this and use it more, Avs. Kerfoot is collecting a puck off the boards and is going to work it down to Landeskog net side. Once Landeskog gets this puck, he does something pretty disgusting for a guy just returning back from injury. He drags this with his stick out into the front of the net, letting it creep away from his stick a bit. Meanwhile, McKinnon sneaking in on that back door. And then Landy reaches out his stick and is going to poke this again directly through the defender's legs to a wide open Nathan McKinnon and into the back of the net. It goes on a changeup. I got a secret to tell you. Let me get a little closer here. Landeskog is really good. His 70th point of the season, and with a career high in goals and points already, he only needs a few more of those apples for a career high there as well. It was great that we managed to win quite a bit without Landy, but we're a much better team with him. Avs go up 1-0, and then this game straight up turns into an episode of the Twilight Zone as Arizona takes another penalty and the Avs score again. Are we sure this is right? The Avs are going to work this puck down the boards and eventually down below the goal line to Soderberg. From there, Soderberg's going to throw it out to the middle where Colin Wilson is waiting. And Wilson just does an absolutely fantastic job fighting off 2 Coyotes here. He manages to hold onto the puck by kicking it back to himself and then just kind of slap it over to Brassard, who has this whole side of the ice to himself as all of the Coyotes have collapsed to Wilson. Brassard, from that close in, yeah, he's a pretty good shooter. Picks his spot, fires it home. Gonna be straight up, Brassard really hasn't done that well since joining the Avs. That was just his 4th point in 16 games with us. To be fair though, they are all goals, and this was by far his best game with the team. Overall, I was hoping to see more out of him, but in this game, he did exactly what he was brought in to do. And that's big. It was a nice finish by him, but obviously the hero there is Wilson. That was just some tenacity to make the play happen no matter what. He won't reach 30 points because of his injury troubles, but he's on an over 30-point pace on the season for scoring. Both Wilson and Brassard are unrestricted free agents at the end of this season, and if you do bring back one of them, I don't think it's any contest that it would be Wilson and not Brassard. At the end of the day, the Avs may bring back neither. I don't really see how they can bring back both, though. Wilson would likely be taking a pay cut to come back, as he's a bit overpaid at $4 million a year right now, but he could be a solid depth scoring piece for the Avs. He's certainly replaceable through the free agency market and possibly even replaceable by an internal option for the Avs, but it's very likely that the Avs sign someone for a role like he has right now, so it may just end up being him. But that is talk for after the season is over. The Avs are up 2-0 after 2 in this one. This picture describes everything you need to know about the Avalanche's third period in this one. It started off a little shaky. The Coyotes hit another post for 58 of those on the season on the good side, and from there it just absolutely fell off a cliff. The Avs decided to stop playing offense almost entirely, so that left them stuck in their own zone, where they forgot how to clear a puck effectively. When you can't clear your own zone and aren't willing to hold onto the puck when you finally do, bad times are coming. Avs got outshot 20-7 in the third. Just awful. Grubauer actually held the fort for a reasonably long time. There were 8 minutes left in the game until the Yotes finally broke through. Arizona forced the Avs into a defensive zone faceoff, which they of course lost here. From there, the Coyotes were able to control the puck fairly easily in the Avs zone. Right here was maybe the Avs' one chance to get this out as the puck gets sent through the slot area. It does look like it gets deflected, maybe off of Grubauer, but it just goes right to the defenseman at the point. A bit unlucky there. Then gets worked over to the far side to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson's going to throw a pretty soft wrister towards the net here, and I'm just not sure what Barrie was doing here. He's going to stick out his stick to try and block this, I guess. I don't really know, but you can see it deflecting off of the shaft right there. Obviously, Grubauer's not going to be able to react to that, and it's in the back of the net. Sometimes tough bounces like that happen, but you know what would make them happen less? If you don't spend the entire period in your own zone. Avs had that one coming. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The problem is, now, with it being a one-goal game, the turtle continues. I thought they were going to get away with it, too. Maybe that's just me turning a blind eye because I'm a fan, but I thought just maybe they'd be able to close it out. Of course, as the goalie gets pulled, it's in the Avs net. Soderberg blocks a shot from Hinostroza here, but the Avs are unable to recover. Hinostroza carries this in behind the net and eventually sends it back out to Ekman-Larsson. Initially, great job by Landy. He gives up the body, blocks the shot here. It comes down. Once again, the Avs aren't able to find the loose puck as it came right back to Ekman-Larsson, and he then fires it through Landeskog here. Grubauer had to commit to the first shot. Can't blame him here. It comes through, and by the time he recognizes a second shot is coming, it's already behind him. That one was definitely a more hard-earned goal for the Coyotes, and honestly, they deserved it. The Avs know better than to do that. You have to keep your foot down and get that next goal to put teams away. I think you do have to look at Bednar a little bit here. I like Bednar. I think he's a good coach. I certainly don't want him fired or anything, but this has been a bit of a recurring issue for the Avs, and I think it falls under Bednar's system of playing safe with a lead, and this is far, far too safe. And so, that leads this game into overtime, which was absolutely terrifying. I do not think the Avs played it well. I think their puck management was pretty terrible, but it didn't cost them. Positionally, both teams played it fairly safe in overtime. There wasn't anything too crazy as far as 2-on-nones or anything like that, but the Avs just don't really seem to understand how to work the puck. At moments when they should be aggressively pushing forward and taking shots, they're playing passive and circling back, and then when they can't really afford to lose the puck, they're trying to fire it on net. It's just not making any sense to me. Thankfully, we don't have too many games that can go to 3-on-3 overtime left, and that brings us to the shootout, which is, to me, very disappointing. For the last 2 weeks, every single Avs game has felt like a playoff game. Certainly, this one against the Yotes essentially is a playoff game for both teams. So why do we have the teams stop playing hockey and do this silly skills competition? We don't do that in the playoffs, and I sure hope we never ever have to. If NBCSN can start a game a half hour late just because they want to, then we can play a few extra minutes of hockey to decide a game, no? Notice how I'm saying all this after a shootout that the Avs won and very likely helped themselves earn a playoff spot in also. And you saw the results of that shootout at the top of this video. Absolutely filthy move by McKinnon there to help them seal it as Grubauer shuts the door. Avs do give up the 1 point to Arizona, but they sit 3 points up with 4 games left to play. Completely in control of their own destiny. If you win 2 of the last 4 games, it's like 99% that you make the playoffs. And really, if they get even a little bit of help and Arizona doesn't win out, basically all the Avs have to do is not lose out to make the playoffs. We're still not there yet, but after all the ups and downs of this season, to be in this position again feels nice. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. As always, a very special thank you to all of my contributors on both PayPal and Patreon. I appreciate all of you guys so very much. I promise the trade tree video is coming soon. It's just taking a bit longer than I expected to get it all wrapped up. I'm Rudo3, and why can't this team just close out a big game?